and Manchester.
So, hello, one and all, and welcome back to Netflix football pre-match. Fulham versus Manchester United, and United have a chance to go on top of the league again. Leicester had overtaken us. We'll talk that in a bit, but how have you all been? The COVID vaccines are almost out. Some of my friends have got vaccinated. Trials are there. And I remember I started the podcast for a different channel, and that was during the lockdown period. And I was so excited about the fact that whenever this is going to be happening, that and when are we all going to get rid of this corona pandemic? And finally we are seeing the light of the end of the tunnel. And with that note, welcome you back to Netflix football, the Mank series. Guys, it has been episode 11 already, within a month and 8 days, 11th episode of the Mank. And to continue on the show, we have two very special guests of mine. Bringing them up on screen right now, we have Prashant Nair, Prashant Bhau, and we have Shayan Maiti, who is a very dear friend who is debuting on this channel. He has his own endeavors. We'll talk about that in a bit. But starting with Shayan, how important is a match against Fulham in the Craven Cottage, leading up to the top of the table? How does it feel for you today?
It feels good. It's been quite some time that we haven't been on the top of the table, and it feels very special. Like, it feels energetic, and I've been supporting United since I was a kid. Watched my mama support United, and since then I was like a United fan, like United, and like I used to like Wayne Rooney so much, and from there the love started. And yeah, it feels really great. It's isn't it, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a player of our own team, coaching Manchester United, and it's like brilliant. It feels brilliant that there are so many youth players like Scott McTominay. You talk about Mason Greenwood, and we have youth players like Marcus Rashford, and they're all so famous from our own youth squad. And it feels so good, man. We are on top of the table, and it feels really great, really great, really great.
Absolutely. Youth, courage, arrogance. And with that, a bit more statistical innuendo from Prashant Bhau, as he's the stat meister, because he's the one who brings up all the stats and tactics. So sharing the PL table, I have highlighted it. So Leicester has played one more match and gone on top of the table. Surprise package. And with a roller coaster ride that the PL is happening right now. Prashant Bhau, do you think that this is the top five that we are seeing? We'll talk about Chelsea in a bit. I know you're dying to talk about Chelsea, and if Chirantan Bhau, if you're watching, please stay away. This is going to get nasty. So do you think the top five that are right now, I know there will be position changes, but the other half of the table, do you think teams would be coming in the next half of next like 7, 6, 7, 8 matches, or do you think this 4, 5 will fight out for the crown of the Premier League this season?
Typically, I think usually it's this five who actually always decides the course of the Premier League, and it's been happening for some time now. Especially I know massive credit to Brendan Rodgers and Leicester City, because every year some or the other person is always taking their spot. And this year, Leicester City look like a different team. There is no longer the total dependent on Jamie Vardy. There is Harvey Barnes, Maddison, who's stepping up here and there. And yesterday, Wilfred and Ndidi stepped in. But overall, I think I will still not count out a team like Everton and West Ham, because especially West Ham, they are playing some different kind of football all of a sudden. Jared Bowen and the resurgence of Antonio back in the squad, it'll give them a spring.
Souček. How can we forget Thomas Souček?
I don't want to mention Thomas Souček because he's there in my FPL team, and I don't want to jinx it. So I'll not talk about Thomas Souček. But overall, I think the top five should remain as it is. Obviously, there will be. I expect Man City to climb up the ladder, and also Liverpool. But it'll be for the fifth spot, right? I think Everton, West Ham, and Spurs, all three will battle out, and it should really get intense after a couple of weeks more now.
Absolutely. So we'll take a bit of the comments. So Sushant SK, bro, thanks for commenting. Neil's podcast are totally lit. He's the Instagram influencer, guys. Do check out his channel. Hemang Vata, loving it. You guys are fantastic. Yankita Biswas, lit emojis everywhere. Tottenham Hotspur, history will be the history maker. Shayan, do you think Tottenham Hotspur, the run they are on with Jose Mourinho right now, do you think they have a chance to actually win the Premier League, or is it because this is Jose Mourinho's full-time second season? We know what Jose Mourinho is capable of in his second season. Or do you think with his tactics and all, with parking the bus, etc., he will remain where he is right now?
Sweet memory with Jose Mourinho, like whenever you say Jose Mourinho, heavyweight manager. Like what should I say? Like so many titles, like titles with Chelsea and some here and there trophies with our team. And if somebody would ask, like, if were you sad if Jose Mourinho left, I would have been like, yeah, I was a little bit, but
Mhm.
no, really happy since Ole is the manager. But
Okay.
yes,
Ole
Tottenham
Brigade.
have well, yeah, you cannot you cannot rule out Tottenham Hotspurs. Like they have given us 6 goals. Like you cannot rule out Tottenham Hotspurs. Like I love
Shambles.
Son Heung-min, the way he plays. Harry Kane, he's a good attacker, and like when you look at the back, they have got good defenders, and as well as the Hugo Lloris is very experienced goalkeeper. So, and with Jose Mourinho's tactics, you cannot just rule out Tottenham Hotspurs. He's a there are very big rivals for us, and in the second fixture, we must be very concentrated to beat them.
Absolutely. So the next comment is saying, Hemang, thanks for joining in again. You think Sterling has to stay away from the team to increase the Man City spread? Man City and Aston Villa are going at 0-0 right now. We'll bring in more of the reactions as follows. But Prashant Bhau, talking about another team in blue who is not even in the 6th position right now, Frank Lampard's flying Chelsea. I know you're excited to talk about this. There's talk about him getting sacked and Thomas Tuchel being coming in.
Yeah.
Jan Arge Fjordfort or whatever he's pronounced as, put in the tweets, put in the trailer if it says mentioning Tuchel. Do you think is it too early for Frank Lampard to give him the sack of whether it's not working? Because I remember that debate we had in the transfer scene where Chelsea actually spent 222 million, but the Chelsea fans countered that it was
Yeah.
actually the net spend was a lot less. But tell me one thing: if you earn 500 rupees and you spend 500 rupees, you're on something, you are not getting it for free. You're not getting it for free. Basic common applications over there, Bao. Do you think back on the same question, Frank Lampard deserves a bit more time?
So let me dissect Chelsea into two parts. One is a Chelsea, which is a football team,
Mhm.
which is wanting to win titles, which has won the Premier League, won the Champions League, etc., etc. Then there is another Chelsea, which is run by Roman Abramovich. He does what he wants. He does what he wants, and there is no one who's going to question him because it's his team. And let's give him fair amount of credit and where necessary, because he's built a team of Chelsea, and the revolving door of managers, it's worked only for them. No other club where the managers have rotated so much, they've gone on to win the Premier League, does not work out, sack the manager, get someone in, again win the Premier League, does not work out, sack. It works brilliantly for them, and that's how that club has been. And that's a model which they are expert at it. So having said that, honestly, Frank Lampard should have gone before Leicester's game. Okay, that was my thought. He should have been sacked before Leicester's game, because the team clearly does not understand what Frank Lampard's vision is. I don't know if it was the wrong signings or playing the wrong players at the wrong position. For example, if you play a Timo Werner on the left hand side, obviously he's not going to score goals, and he's definitely short of confidence. But having said that, who else has stepped up for Timo Werner's absence? Tammy Abraham hasn't stepped up. Callum Hudson-Odoi hasn't stepped up. Mason Mount is the only person who stepped up to a certain extent. Pulisic is hit and miss. Okay, Kovacic is hit and miss. Rudiger hit and miss. He played after long yesterday. So overall, apart from couple of signings, they haven't made any quality signings. They might be great players individually, but great individuals do not make a great team. That's why I sometimes say that you also need players who can run for the team. And I think I was watching Monday Night Football where the pundits cleanly said that it's not one person who's not doing a good job. If collectively if 10 people don't do a good job, then they can't do anything about it. Obviously, at
Right.
such kind of scenarios, Lampard will be under pressure, and I'm happy that certainly that the media is looking at Frank Lampard after a change, because all the time it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole hasn't done this, Ole hasn't done that, while Lampard had got a lot of leeway out of it. Now the heat is on Frank Lampard. If if Chelsea manage to not sack Frank Lampard and Frank Lampard makes a great comeback from this Chelsea team, he should be respected. Obviously, there is huge amount of respect for Frank Lampard as a footballer, but as a manager, I think they pushed it a little too early by giving him the Chelsea team. I think he should have managed a couple of more seasons at the Championship. Chelsea job was
Chelsea
too big
team
for him.
with that ambition, Ole knows his ambition is to get up to the challenging
See, I
title
don't want to
spree.
drag. I don't want to drag the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer debate in this, because we are talking of two different managers. We are talking of a club who's addicted to success, which is Chelsea, and not Manchester United. Chelsea is addicted to success. Imagine this: you are Antonio Conte. You win the Premier League. You ask for 3 signings. The board does not give you. Antonio Conte still goes out and puts up a title challenge. Then he goes. Okay. Now there is an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who has taken 2 years almost for rebuild. He's got his players. Okay,
Right.
let's give credit where let's give the credit to the board as well where it's due. He's got his players. Of course, he hasn't got a Jadon Sancho or a Jack Grealish or a centre back or whatever. But
Hmm.
most of the players in this team are the players which Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has signed, right? Apart from David De Gea or Eric Bailly for that matter, Maguire, Maguire, Telles. Okay, if you don't want to count Telles, you have Luke Shaw. Then there is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signed. Then you have someone like Bruno Fernandes in the midfield. Of course, Pogba, Matic, not counting. Donny Van de Beek is signed. Marcus Rashford has been moved to the left. You have a Mason Greenwood who's come under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, moved to the right. There is an Edinson Cavani. So 7 out of 11 players are what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got now. There are a couple of main positions which he hasn't got as a replacement, which he's been asking. But Ole has crossed this path of where Frank Lampard is right now. Frank Lampard is in a similar situation what Arteta was there for 3-4 weeks back. It is
Right.
just that Arteta had 3-4 weeks. Frank Lampard is having 11 games now. So it's a matter of time how Frank Lampard pulls out of this. As much as I have respect for Frank Lampard as a professional footballer, as a number 8, one of the greatest midfielders to play in the Premier League, Chelsea job was not his. It was too big a jump, which they kind of trusted him to do with.
Absolutely right. Like, and talking about new managers, let's have a look
Mm.
at Derby County from where Lampard came from and who's managing them right now. It's none other than our hero Wayne Rooney. Shayan,
Mm.
your thoughts on how Wayne Rooney, as you said, Wayne Rooney influenced you a lot, on how Wayne Rooney has had a glistening career as a United player, as a United captain, as a United goal scorer, and
Mm.
how are your thoughts that he's going into management right now with Derby County? What are your whole thoughts on the whole scenario?
Well, as soon as Wayne Rooney left Manchester United, I mean, like I thought that there would be a big hole created in that, that striker comes CF area, where you would expect that a player, a striker probably who started as a striker, and who would come down to CF, then to CAM, then to CM, and he would play CDM and CB. I mean, like a complete footballer, man. People talks about Cristiano Ronaldo. People talks about Lionel Messi. They talk about Mbappe. How about Wayne Rooney, man? He can cross the ball, he can long
Right.
the ball, he can shot the ball, he can score a goal, he can defend for you. I mean, like how many goal line clearances we have seen from Wayne Rooney? I mean, like he's a brilliant footballer. And when he left, like that shot he scored from the that this side of that center line,
Mm.
he shot that goal from that center
West
line to
Ham.
the goal.
Yeah.
No,
West Ham.
no. When he, I don't know against which team,
Against
but he
West
was an
Ham.
Everton.
Against West Ham.
Yeah,
West
right,
Ham.
right. So
Beckham
and
was in
then
the
he,
stands watching. That's the same volley.
yeah,
Beckham was
right,
in the stand watching, and it reminiscent of the
right.
one that actually was Beckham scored against Preston, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Wimbledon.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
For Preston,
So
probably.
you know,
Yeah, go on.
No, he
so
played for
so
United. He
like
scored against Wimbledon from the halfway
Okay.
line.
Okay. Yeah, go on, Shayan.
yeah. So Wayne Rooney, like he like at the end, he's we know that he's getting old, and there would be a time, and at the
Mm.
end, at the end, like I didn't track him a lot because I was so much obsessed with Manchester United, and like he went on to Derby County, and then he was lost. I mean, like I didn't notice him. Like I couldn't follow him much. But later on, when he came on, and he was like how Sir Alex Ferguson had a great role to play in his build-up career. And I wish him a very good luck in managing a team like a Derby County. And I think he's tactically very clear, and he knows what to do. And we have seen that when he's in the midfield or when he's in the forward position, he takes the ball and he passes on the ball, and he's not too much selfish, like always going for the shot. And like as a player, he has that mentality, and as a captain, he has scored many goals for United, and as a forward also, he has scored many goals for United. And I think that his tactical awareness would help Derby County a lot.
Okay, absolutely. On that note, here's the starting lineup: De Gea, Bailly, Maguire, Pogba, Cavani, Martial, Greenwood, Fred, Fernandes, Shaw, Wan Bissaka. Totally what we expected would be a second team, the likes of Rashford, the likes of, oh, actually, Rashford gets a rest. The likes
Yeah.
of Van de Beek starting, Daniel James starting, even Alex Telles starting against Fulham, because we have that derby, Northwest Derby, the FA Cup on the midweek. Do you think this a sign that Prashant Bhau, is this a sign that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is actually prioritizing the Premier League a bit more?
I think I expected the same lineup. I didn't expect Van de Beek to start, nor did I expect Alex Telles to start. To be very honest with you, I expected Rashford to start off. I expected the same team like how we played Liverpool, because I thought United would go all guns blazing against Fulham as well, because we need those 3 points, so that there is clear daylight difference between United, City, or Liverpool, whoever is trying and fighting for the title. But my only problem in the Liverpool game was Cavani not starting. But I'm pretty happy that Cavani has started and Rashford has got a much deserved rest, which is fair. I think it's a very good lineup. I don't have any complaints on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on taking that. But having said that, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking at the Premier League or FA Cup. All Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is looking at it one game at a time. I don't think
Right.
he's prioritizing anything in his head, because he clearly knows that it's a long way to the season. Last year, if you remember, Leicester were there for Champions League football, and we know how 15 points was just taken away in a flash. No one knows how the Premier League will work during the time of pandemic. So it's very important that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looks at one game at a time, and that's exactly what he's done. I'm pretty happy with the lineup. That's for sure.
Okay, Shayan, coming over to you. Would you have expected a Van de Beek or an Alex Telles or even a Dean Henderson to start in this match?
Not really. I will go with David De Gea because he's one of my favorite goalkeepers. I mean, like acrobatic saves, he's a very fantastic goalkeeper. I can see that Rashford has been dropped. I mean, like, yeah, I expected that. I thought that this time he would give Mason Greenwood a chance instead of Marcus Rashford.
Maybe
And
a bit
as
of a
far as
breather for Marcus Rashford, because he's been very much fatigued in
yeah,
the
like
last
he has
couple of
been playing games after games. I mean, like this is the first time Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has dropped Marcus Rashford in a Premier League game. I think he has
matches.
played every Premier League game previously. And
Right.
as far as that Donny van de Beek is concerned, who is starting in the midfield? I think it's Pogba and it's Fred,
Right.
right? So I
Right.
think Fred would have been better in the subs, and I would have given Donny van de Beek a start because he's in the team, and still Ole is saying that he has got so many chances. He's still in the build-up process, Donny van de
Right.
Beek. And
Right.
I think Donny van de Beek has that, that mentality, that defending mentality, that passing mentality, that play-making mentality, and that attacking mentality as well.
Right.
He is not really a number 10 player. He can play all around in the midfield and he can make it his own. And with that, Pogba can get that chance to move up in the forward. If he is
Right.
in the center midfield position, he can go up and Donny van de Beek can, like boss that area in the midfield. So with a light game like this game, I think Donny van de Beek would have been a better choice over Fred. And apart from that, I think the team is fine. And Alex Telles, I think he's in a build-up process just like Donny van de Beek. And I think soon he's going to get his chances. But at the moment, I think Luke Shaw is on top of his form. I mean, like top form. You cannot drop Luke Shaw at this moment because that Luke Shaw is very injury prone.
Right.
I mean, like he can get injured at any time, anytime. So as long as he is available to us, I think we should make use of him. And he's a fantastic player. Lately, he has been really, really fantastic. And his coordination
Absolutely.
with that left midfielders and left wingers, I mean, like it's been terrific, man. He plays as a left back, a left wing back, and you might say a left wing back and left winger as well, because he can cut through that box and he can make those
Right.
passes and make those crosses. And
Right.
as far as Telles
What
is
we have
about
seen him very
concerned,
recently.
yeah, and as far as Telles is about concerned, he prefers to long the ball from the midfield into a cross. I mean, like a
Right.
long cross from the midfield. He prefers that one. But Luke Shaw is very stunning through his cutting speed. I mean, like that's fantastic, and he's on top form. So I think Luke Shaw
Absolutely.
is a better pick than Alex Telles.
Prashant Bhau, before we move on from the lineup into the tactical segment of the thing, but
Yeah.
Do you think with the Van de Beek, I'm not going into the Van de Beek dilemma anymore because that's been talked about way too much in our podcast. But do you
Yeah.
think a Matic against a Fulham side that does like to play the ball on the ground, a Scott Parker team, we know how they like to pass. But do you think
Mm.
that a Matic would have served better, considering that Fred had that tedious game against Liverpool, and Liverpool is awaiting where Fred and McTominay are necessary? Do you think Matic would have served better, considering the fact that Pogba is playing alongside him? He'll move forward, accompanying Bruno Fernandes in that half space or the number 10 role. Probably Matic wouldn't have made a better selection, don't you think?
I actually wanted Matic to start this game, but I think Matic is being protected for the FA Cup game against Liverpool. That's what
Okay.
I'm thinking, because with Fred and McTominay, we couldn't build anything against Liverpool, right? We were chasing shadows of Thiago Alcantara in that entire half. The first half,
Absolutely.
we were running behind Thiago, and Thiago was playing as if you and me play FIFA, pass, pass, and pass, because Thiago was on a
You
different
and
level.
you and Bhabiji play FIFA.
However you want to however you want to put it, or whatever you want to put it, but my point being that it's a big even if I play FIFA, for that matter of fact, or however I play FIFA, I would want to have a possession in the game. I want to dominate in any kind of a game. In the United versus Liverpool game, we did not dominate in the first half at all, and all the time uh, we were chasing Thiago Alcantara, if I have to be very blunt. I think Nemanja
Absolutely.
Matic,
Absolutely.
yeah, and that point of time, I think Nemanja Matic would be a better option to put it, because he would not let Thiago have that free kind of a will. So I
Right.
am expecting Nemanja Matic to start against Liverpool. Probably it will be Nemanja Matic and McTominay, is what my sense is. Because if Fred is starting today, I don't think he's making it again for the Liverpool game. And smart enough move, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. So that's what most about the lineups. Those of you are watching for the first time, hit that subscribe button. I'm almost close to 400, guys. Let's get that target 400 before pre-match. Hit that subscribe button. So as Shan was saying, how Shaw has been in excellent form. We let's talk about a bit of Shaw. I'll stick with Prashant Bhau. I think he has been Prashant Bhau. Your screen has gone frozen. If you're still there with us, Prashant Bhau. Your screen has gone frozen. Okay, I'll stick with Shan. Shan, for that matter, you said how Luke Shaw was impressive, and against the likes of Liverpool, exactly. He just explained to us how efficiently and how effortlessly he pocketed Mo Salah, and because we were hearing post match that Mo Salah was there in Luke Shaw's pocket along with Adama Traore since the Wolves days. So how effortless and
Yeah,
how
yeah.
gallant he has been.
Luke Shaw. Better to say that he makes those runs with those left or right midfielders. I mean, like, he plays in the left back position, so it will be left midfielders or the left wing fielders. So he runs with those players and he blocks those crosses, which is very, very important. Very, very important. He slides in, he puts the body on the line, and he saves those balls. And in one of those matches where he came along and slid in and he hit the ball, and it hit the ball as well as the leg. I don't remember which match it was, and it hit the leg as well.
Right.
And they went on to red card their player, and they came back to red card to talk about the red card of that Luke Shaw tackle. And for
Right.
that, in that play, that there was never a red card, because he got the ball, and there
It
wasn't
was
even
a
a
yellow
foul as
card
well.
that was given.
According, yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was against Aston. No, Aston Villa, not Aston Villa. Prasanta, which was the match that Luke Shaw got a yellow card and we did not score that goal? Cavani didn't get that center back. Was it against Aston Villa?
Foul.
It wasn't Aston Villa. I think not Burnley. It wasn't Burnley, because he came
It
later. I
was
don't
Burnley. It was Burnley.
It was
They were
Burnley.
playing flat. It was
Correct.
Burnley. Yeah, Shan, go on. It was
Yeah.
Burnley.
Yeah. So he would put his body on the line, he would stretch out his leg, and he would block those passes and block those crosses. It's very
Right.
important for a left back. I mean, like a wing back. Especially if you talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. If I shift on from Luke Shaw to other side of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been criticized that he doesn't guard that front post, which
Right.
Luke Shaw does very well. And
Right.
he blocks those crosses, and he blocks those short passes which comes in from that that left position of the field of their opponent, and
Right.
they don't get in the ball that much. He also does a bit of work for Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire as well, I must say, because he spots those men making those runs from that midfield of the opposition, and
Right.
he would be quick, and he would block those crosses and block those passes, and as well as make those tackles, which is very much important. And for me, I mean, like, what should I say? Like, he's a complete player. He defends as well as make those forward runs with those balls. I mean, like, from back to front, it's all about Luke Shaw in the left field. And when our like left fielder, left wing back, or left forward is off, having an off day, like Marcus Rashford or Anthony Martial, who is having an off day, Luke Shaw would make those runs from back to forward, and he would cut in those crosses, which is very impressive for me. Very, very impressive.
So Prashant Bhau, much has been said about how Luke Shaw is the best English fullback. Just want to highlight a stat with you, if you can see this one.
Yeah.
This is better. So here is actually where even I can't see. Just a sec. To get my
you're
eyes
searching.
tested.
Hmm.
Yes, this is Luke Shaw and Alex Telles, both of them in the higher epidermides of this graph, where the x-axis is big chances created per 90 with crosses and crosses per 90. Two statistics piled up in. Luke Shaw, Alex Telles occupying a similar position of 1 cross per game, 1 big chances created per cross. Luca Digne on his way out of anywhere. Trent Alexander-Arnold, we know where he's been. Robertson has been a bit of a disappointment. But Prashant Bhau, how does this stat actually? One point I want to ask you is that, number one, how rotation has brought out the best of Luke Shaw, and how the competition has brought out the best of Luke Shaw. Both, because we have seen him play. Yeah, go on.
So I don't think rotation plays a very important role here, to be very honest with you. I don't remember a full, complete fit season of Luke Shaw. Do you remember one?
No,
I don't.
so what kind of rotation are you talking of a player who cannot have a 38-game season in 6 years of professional career at Manchester United? Let's be very honest and let's be fair in assessment of Luke Shaw. This is probably the first time after Mourinho's era where Luke Shaw is trying to show some promise. Luke Shaw did show promise even during Mourinho's time after that fat remark, and then he came back, he had a good spell. Now the point for me here is consistency. Rotation secondary, obviously when you play a long amount of games, you need to be rotated, etc., etc. But I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has become pretty ruthless in saying that you drop your guard one game, I'm benching you because there's Alex Telles who's waiting for you. So it's more of the competition which is making Luke Shaw do well rather than the rotation. I remember as soon as the Everton game got over, he had a niggle and he walked off, and I was like, there we go again. Luke Shaw and his injury. Yeah, I was like, Luke Shaw and his injury. How long will he keep playing this card? I am English, I'm talented. United bought me for 30 million from Southampton. Van Gaal said that I'm possibly the best young fullback. And in chaste Hindi, I would like to say, bhai, ho gaya tera din. Matlab 6 saal se sun raha hu main ye. This is done. I can't listen to any of this anymore. And of course, you had this horrific leg injury, and then you tried to come back, etc., etc. But what this graph definitely tells me is that United have gone with a very simple plan this year, and they have said that whoever is the fullback, your job is to cross. Okay, obviously Aaron Wan-Bissaka does not feature in this list because most of the fullbacks you mentioned here are very attacking kind of fullbacks, while Aaron Wan-Bissaka is pretty defensive. So what has happened here is that Luke Shaw, whenever he gets the ball, he will try to cross, or if not, like Shannon said, he will overlap it. Once he overlaps, if he puts in the cross, right? So it clearly means that Cavani gets in business or Greenwood gets in business. Earlier, when we used to put cross, Martial was just around the box, not even inside the box. Okay, Martial was just around the box. Rashford, it depends on his mood. He's sometime at the far post, he's sometime at the near post. There is no
clearing headers as well.
Yeah, sometimes clearing headers as well. Martial trying to score own goal at the other end. But whatever. My point here is that Luke Shaw has seen a massive improvement in his form because of one gentleman by the name Alex Telles. I am sure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have had a word with both of them and saying that the chances only one spot, two of you are competing. Whoever screws up less will get to play more. Alex Telles more often than not screws up the defensive work because he's so attacking fullback. He does not even track his man, once it crosses. So now Alex Telles would be waiting on the fringes and thinking, I need to get my defensive game in order. It is not like I want Luke Shaw to fail, then only I'll get a chance. No, of course not. I'm pretty sure Alex Telles is a pretty professional footballer and he does not think of anything of that sort. But he will know that my chance is there. It's just around the corner. I just need to keep patiently working hard for it. It's just like how, big teams bring in small play, different kind of players. So, for example, if you are looking at a Man City team, suddenly if Riyad Mahrez is not having a good day, Ferran Torres can come in and replace in either side of the wings. If Sterling is not having a good day, Ferran Torres can go there. So Ferran Torres does not think that, yaar, Raheem Sterling ka game kharab hona chahiye, tohi I'll get to play. Of course not. He's waiting for his chance. So I'm sure both of them are, competing in, and it's a pretty healthy rivalry, right? And United as a club has always had that. We had the rivalry among strikers. Okay, I think the only position where we did not have rivalry throughout our great, tenure under Alex Ferguson was the right back, because there was only one official right back at the club, which was Gary Neville. rest all positions we had massive rivalry. So I think it's a sign of a team which is rebuilding.
Absolutely. So those of you watching right now, joining in right now, hit that subscribe button. Let's make it to 400. It's almost 390. You have half an hour. You have 45 minutes before the match starts. Share this with your friends, local guy, local people. Support these guys and support me in turn. And let's see. I saw a stat where Angry Rantman was ranked 4th in the list of earners from Premier League matches. भाई उतना तक नहीं जाना है, उसका 110 तक पहुंचा दो, then खुद सोच लेंगे. Okay, banters aside. Now I want to talk about someone, as you said, on the left-hand side, promising on the left-hand side, and recently he's shifted on the right-hand side, filling in for Paul Pogba. He's playing or sparkling in that Mezzala role on the left, reminiscing in Juventus days. Shan, it's a new for Shan, because I've been discussing this with Prashant Bhav and others in the other podcasts as well, is about Marcus Rashford. I'll bring on the tactical bit in a while, but Shan, I'd just like to ask you your thoughts on how Marcus Rashford has been playing so efficiently, because last season we saw him more of a support striking role from the left, and recently he has dropped off a bit. His playmaking numbers have increased. How do you think that this features with the ongoing tactical selections, if I may put it, that maybe is Rashford's position on the right for this remainder half of the season, or will he get back his excellent position on the left based on how Pogba can feature inside this team?
Actually, I think Marcus Rashford isn't either a left wing or a right wing player, actually, according to me, because I have seen him play and he make those runs, good runs. Right. Okay, so I think like Marcus Rashford's actual position is a CF, center forward, and he can basically play in a left wing, position, because he can cut in and make those curled shots, and he has got power in his legs. Right. And I don't think really Marcus Rashford is that kind of a right wing player, and I don't think he suits in that position, and we can see a significant amount of drop in his performances. Right. So what I would like to say is, I'll be very honest, Marcus Rashford is at the moment my favorite player at Manchester United, because I watch the game very closely when he is playing around, and there is Paul Pogba. Rashford, I'm giving you the ball. Make that run, buddy. And he would make that run. That ball comes in his leg, that fine touch, and he would shoot. It would be a goal, and I would like, GGMU, what a goal, man, Marcus Rashford. So I watch the game very closely because I have to watch those runs very carefully. And recently, when he's in the right wing position, he fails to read those offside traps by those defenders, because he is always concerned about his right foot, because he is very comfortable with that right foot, and I haven't seen Marcus Rashford shooting with that left foot a lot.
No, Sam, so one thing I would like to cut you on, as you said, how Marcus Rashford fails in that right hand side, or his performances decreases. Well, look at the shot, look at the picture over here. This is his natural stance. On a footballing broader spectrum, people tend to forget that he has a 1.5 step dribble like the likes of Robin, who are destined to be inside forwards, not overlapping wingers. This is his natural stance, and he cannot play this. His outside of the boot, the touch with the ball is more efficient, and he can dribble. His dribbling foot is with the outside of this foot, not with his inside. Jadon Sancho's is his inside. This is the basic difference, if I may think. So that's why I feel that Rashford is not on his best on the right. Do you agree? Very shortly. We'll move to the tactical.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. He is a left winger and a CF player who cuts in that with that outside foot, and he cannot play
Right.
with that inside foot. So he can curl in the shots, and he is very good at that. Why will you change a player's position who is basically a left winger, and why will you shift it to the right wing? Because he didn't get Jadon Sancho. That's arguably that thing we can say, but because he didn't get a right winger. So
Right.
that's why he have to play. He have to go with the most reliant player in the forward. That is Marcus Rashford, and he can
Absolutely.
play at most play Anthony Martial in the left. And his most reliant and his most loved and preferred player is Marcus Rashford. And he would say to Marcus, Marcus, see, I have a hole in this position. Will you please fill it up for me? Because at the moment I don't have Jadon, and you have to fill in that position. So Marcus Rashford has to do all that work, and he tries his best. I can see him trying his best, but he gets caught offside. He misses those balls from long balls and misses those passes, crosses, and whatever you might say, that those shots don't come in from him because he's basically a curler or a power hitter from that left side. So
Right.
he is missing on that part. Basically, he is missing the runs, shots, everything is missing on. So basically, his performance is dropping, and that's why he's not in the first team as well.
Right. So, Prasant Bhav, I'll move over to you very swiftly. So, I have a stat that is highlighted over here. You might have seen this or doing the
Yeah.
rounds on Twitter. I know you've researched it because you're that kind of a guy. This highlights the number for those of you who are watching and those of you who are a complete noob like me. Let me explain the research. Is that the larger you see the circle, the larger it is that they make more passes between players, and the color starting from a blue to a red. Blue is low. The bluer it is lower of XG or expected goals, and red is the higher of expected goals. Now, XG and XA matrices, another video, it would take the whole video. Prashant Bhav and I have experience in that. So Prashant Bhav,
Yeah.
arguably Marcus Rashford's average position has been on the right hand side this season. Very
Mm,
low XG, but a very
mm,
high pass rate. I
mm.
think you remember how he played in Mason Greenwood, played in
Yeah.
Cavani, exceptional through passes, link up play has improved
Mm,
a lot. But is it costing his natural forward or movement game? Because we see him becoming selfish, and I won't talk about that. Just one bit I would talk about that Cavani passes, because you're running 90 minutes in that match,
mm.
and that pace, suddenly there's one gap, and I have been in that position as a player. Your brain doesn't work. So do not put hatred on Marcus Rashford based on that one incident. But Prasad,
Of course.
how more from you on this?
Yeah. So couple of things, right? So first, I'll just take from what Shayan said. I don't think Rashford is a centre forward at all. Okay, Rashford
Hmm.
does not have an instinct to score goals. If you had
Right.
to talk about a striker's instinct to score goals, I would rate Anthony Martial's instinct to score goals higher. Rashford may have got a better technique, but the ease
Right.
at which Anthony Martial can score goals, that's sign of someone who can understand how the movement of different players work. That's what Anthony
Who can
Martial is
sniff
good at.
the goals?
Yeah, who can sniff the goals? Of course, having said that, Anthony Martial can only sniff. He does not score often, so that's another debate altogether. But if you actually want to understand what a centre forward is, then you should actually sit down and see how Edinson Cavani moves. I'll give you a small
Absolutely.
example. I'll give you a small example. In the Liverpool game in the first half, Rashford was total. There were 7 offside calls in the first half of United, 4 of
Yeah.
which were Marcus Rashford. Okay, a
Yes.
player who does not know where to track his runs very quickly. Liverpool did a very easy job. As soon as United got the ball, Jordan Henderson, Fabinho move ahead. Rashford caught offside. If you are a striker, you are supposed to be the most intelligent player on that pitch because you don't get chances. You get only half a chances. So you have to make space for yourself. That's why I keep saying that Rashford is a winger. Rashford will not be a great striker. He can best be a second striker. For him,
Yeah.
second striker is probably the ideal position because of the same graph which you're showing.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got involved so much in the build-up play right now that obviously his he already had a decent goal scoring instinct, but it is going down slowly. Now he's more bothered about creating chances, making space for others. It's a development for the footballer as well.
Mhm.
Obviously when Rashford came in, we played him as a number 9, typically not even a centre forward, but just at a number 9 position, right?
Mhm.
You remember the goal against Arsenal, the header once Guillermo Varela passed the ball.
Right.
The goal against Mitchell, where Mata tried to put the ball and he, kind of finished it. That's an instinct. And that instinct, slowly and steadily, teams have also figured Marcus Rashford out, right? They know that this guy is all about pace.
Yeah.
This guy is all about great finish. So make sure that you don't give him space. So just how Mason Greenwood is right now looked at. What this graph clearly shows is that how Paul Pogba is dominating that entire pitch. Okay, where he is passing the maximum to Anthony Martial on the left hand side rather than on the right hand side, because more often than not, Rashford is offside
Right.
on the right side. So obviously there is one player who he is lost straight away from the passing range. He can only look at the one on the left side, which is Anthony Martial, or just a small observation. Look at it. His passing range to Edinson Cavani, okay, is very minimal while he directly passes it to Bruno Fernandes. So
Right.
that Edinson Cavani is played online. While you look at the line for Marcus Rashford, he hardly has got any line. It's all about Eric Bailly to Marcus Rashford, and
Right.
obviously he gets caught offside. Now look at the line from Nemanja Matic to Anthony Martial. Look at the line from Maguire to Luke Shaw to Martial. Look at the line from Cavani to Martial. What does it clearly indicate? He's always onside.
Right.
Martial is not caught offside very quickly. That's probably because he's a late starter in runs as well. Martial does not start very quickly. He's a late starter because
Yes.
he knows he's got
Yes.
great dribbling skills. So he'll just wait for a second, then dribble and then try to score it. Okay.
Absolutely.
So for me, this graph cleanly shows a statistical representation that Rashford as a player is much suitable in building or trying and make a two striker system where Rashford is the second fiddle and let's say an Edinson Cavani is the main guy. And that's an area of improvement for Rashford as well, because that's a kind of role which I think Marcus Rashford will be brilliant at,
Right.
because he's got a great sense and awareness. Now you look at one more part, right? Look at Rashford's pass to Martial. See how many times has he squared him? How many times has he squared Edinson Cavani? Look at the minor lines, which means he clearly understands that there is another striker waiting. So he's slowly and steadily adapting to that position, and I think it's matter of time that Rashford will also get better and better at this role.
We forget that he's still young. And one quick observation that I would want to put in, that in spite of Paul Pogba's very less involvement, you see his
Yeah.
XG is the
Hmm.
highest, as well as his level on the passing skill. He has the same impact as Bruno Fernandes
Yeah.
without starting that much.
That's
Does
that's
this
because that's because Jurgen Klopp still thinks that we play defensive football. Half of his forward passes are forward, and I don't know what defensive football did we play in that Liverpool game. Probably first half we might be a little slow on the start, but defensive football really. I mean, we were the team who were at them in the second half. They did not even know what's happening.
they actually had 3 shots on target. One was that Thiago one, the other 2 minor ones,
Yeah,
and De Gea just had one save to make. That is a testament of, and Alisson saving their asses is a testament of how Jurgen Klopp has totally lost the plot. Okay, Shayan, coming back to you, a bit of tactical analysis right now in the segment. So here's an image as you talked about Luke Shaw. Sorry, this is not the slide. Right. So this is the image you talked about how Luke Shaw has been impressive with his runs. Let me just widen up a bit. So here you see Marcus Rashford. Now, this is not directly related to Luke Shaw, let me warn you. Now you see how Marcus Rashford cutting in, Luke Shaw making that run. Luke Shaw then going into the byline, then scoring, then creating the chances. 3 of them waiting in the box, and credits to Liverpool because this was a rampant break and they got all their bodies back. Even Luke Shaw managed to find the pass, and Bruno soft touch, maybe a Cavani probably in there would have or should have squared it in. Excellent plaudits to Alisson as well. But similarly, if you look at how Wan-Bissaka is, this is my point over here. How
yeah,
Wan-Bissaka is on the right hand side, he has no one to pass to. Whenever there is a switch of play, it's only Wan-Bissaka, not Rashford, not anyone else on the whoever plays on the right. It's just Wan-Bissaka. Not like unlike Luke Shaw, he cannot pass to the other forward in front of him and wait for that pass and create the switch. It's Wan-Bissaka. Similarly, same Wan-Bissaka. He just has to square it. He cannot cross. There are no bodies in the box to cross. They're completely outnumbered. This is against Aston Villa. But suddenly, you have a Marcus Rashford providing a support to him. He can either make this run or make this run, which he made, and then moved in an assist. And did not assist but created 3 chances, but he got his assist in the end. Do you think, Shayan, that this tactical ploy is missing just because of a Jadon Sancho? Do you even think that Amad Diallo, who is rated very highly amongst us, can actually fill that gap? After you say, I'll ask the same question to Prashant Bhav as well. Go on.
Am
you
I
already
really
know my
talking about?
answer.
You
Sorry,
talking
go on.
about Amad Diallo?
No, I'm talking about Wan-Bissaka.
Okay,
And
Wan
I
Bissaka.
don't know how
Actually,
Jadon Sancho
video muted.
or
Actually, my connection lost, I guess. Would you please repeat that? Like, what
okay,
are you talking about in
Prashant
this
Bhau can
case?
take over. Prashant Bhau heard it. Prashant Bhau
Oh,
can
yeah,
take
yeah,
over.
yeah.
We'll ask you on the next one.
Yeah, so a couple of things, Neil. Okay, so first thing is that I never expected Van Bissaka to make that run. Okay, the third image which you showed, that Van Bissaka would go there. I don't expect Van Bissaka to make that run. Yeah, this run. I don't expect Van Bissaka to make that run because Van Bissaka never does that. Even if you look at the assist to Martial, which Van Bissaka did, it was from the box, nearby the box, and he crossed it. Okay.
Right.
The poor guy does not have that attacking instinct and he's improving, and we can clearly see that he's improving. Now, the
Right.
problem for him, what I think would have happened is that he tried to do his attacking bit against Leipzig. Okay. And Angelino took him to cleaners that game.
Right.
You know, if you remember that game, the same thing
Who
he tried to
doesn't?
do. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who doesn't? And Angelino on that day, God knows what happened to him. Now, the poor, even he's a young fellow, you know, he's improved a part of the game. He started to contribute a lot in the attacking sense. And suddenly, because of his attacking sense, he's conceded a goal. Of course, the prime job of a fullback is to run the entire length of the pitch. He cannot give an excuse saying that I'm only great at attacking, I'm bad at defending, or whatever, either ways.
Trent
Having said that,
Alexander is crying somewhere.
I will get to that debate some other time. But my point is that, you know, for me, the ideal fullback in Premier League today is Robertson. To be very honest with you, even if he plays for Liverpool, why is he an ideal fullback for me? Because he exactly knows when to attack and he exactly knows when to shut shop. You know, in the game against United, Robertson started attacking in the first half. As soon as United's momentum started getting better in the second half, Robertson shut his shop. Whatever balls he got, he immediately squared it to Thiago Alcantara and he held his position at the halfway line, making sure that one of the wingers was caught offside. Now, Van Bissaka obviously is what, 24 right now. He'll only improve slowly and steadily. But my point here, what has happened entirely is that Van Bissaka is not capable of making that runs immediately. That's probably because of the system we play. We play such a narrow system. We play a very
Wan
compact system,
Bissaka
right?
just turned 23, by the way, on November.
23. So he's not even 24. He's only 23. So we play such a compact system right now that
Right.
we don't have wingers. We have forwards who are playing as wingers.
Right.
Okay. What is the advantage of wingers? Your wingers expand the length of the pitch because
Right.
wingers need
Yes.
space to cross. Right. So for example,
Absolutely.
if you put a Ryan Giggs on the left hand side, what Ryan Giggs does is he will not run straight. Ryan Giggs will go to the far end of the touch line so that he has got that enough space in his legs to cross. Okay.
Right.
What is Mason Greenwood do? As soon as he gets the ball, he tries to come inside. Immediately tries to come inside. He thinks that the fullback will overlap him. But the fact is, the poor fullback is now behind thinking, भाई तेरे से बॉल छूट गया, काउंटर में मैं गोल खाएगा, बसा किशीर हो जाएगा मेरे साथ वापस.
Similarly here as well, he doesn't take on that dribble. He's
See,
looking
he
for
does
a
not.
pass.
Exactly, he does not take on for the. And why would he take on for a dribble there? Because if he loses the ball here, then there are two
Absolutely.
centre backs. There are two centre backs, which let's say if it is Harry Maguire and Lindelof, and there is Kevin De Bruyne, that's Gundogan behind. There will be Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne will be like, हाँ भाई free में goal दे रहे तो दे दो अभी. Okay,
Absolutely.
that's
Not even Phil Foden in this frame, who can one slip of a tongue
exactly.
and all guns
It's all on a
Absolutely.
counter. It's a counter. So
Yeah, I would.
what ideally Van Bissaka would do here is that he would look for a pass because it's okay to sometimes play safe against a big team. See, if it was a smaller team, I would have expected Van Bissaka to take on the player. You know, it's
Right.
understandable. Now, right now in front of him, there is Phil Foden, there is Gundogan. If he beats one of them, there will be Fernandinho on the behind, who was playing centre back that day. There will be Fernandinho who would run. There is Ruben. See, there is Fernandinho here, right? He will immediately
Fernandinho was
slot
CDM.
behind.
Ruben Diaz
I'm just
and
saying.
Stones were CDM.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that Fernandinho will immediately slot into the centre back position. Ruben Diaz would come out and try and charge.
Right.
You know,
He's
so that the
already
double.
organizing the defense, as you
Yeah,
can see.
that's exactly my point. He's immediately looked at John Stones and telling that I am going ahead because there is a big gap here. I am filling in. That's why Fernandinho is starting to track back. So obviously Van Bissaka's only option left at that point of time is look for a pass. And I know who is he looking for a pass. He's looking for a pass at Bruno. But sadly, Bruno is at the far end or he's not here. Then there are only two options, which is Rashford and Martial, who both are at the similar position. If he crosses, there is only one winner, which is John Stones there.
Right. Yeah, Sam,
Absolutely.
go on.
I would like to talk about. I would like to talk about here. Adam Van Bissaka. I mean, like lots of people talk about like Adam Van Bissaka. He's not really good at attacking the ball and like moving forward with the ball and crossing the ball.
Right.
But I think Adam Van Bissaka did what he could actually with that supporting play. Actually, he did what he could, because as you see in that picture where Aaron Wan-Bissaka is standing with the ball and no one to pass, and as he said, like he has no one to pass. But if Bruno was there, that would have been an option. Like he would pass on the ball to Bruno Fernandes and would take the attack forward. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka, as he said, he's spot on. His opinion was like just spot on, that he is very late in making the runs, and which allows the defenders to like sort out what he is going to do. Like there is no one in the support, we are going to press him, and he makes one wrong pass and we'll take the ball and we'll get a goal for free. So no supporting play for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And I think
passes he made to Bruno.
See, that's exactly what I told you. That's exactly what I told you. That's his only option left.
Only option. Like if he is like helped a little bit in that right side, and he would like 1-2 touches play in that forward runs, then he would have been taken the ball. He would have took the ball, and with one player in that support, he would have cut in and make those Luke Shaw wala crosses. But he, like he isn't in.
Shayan, if he starts doing that, no, Shayan, I would not call him Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'd call him Philip Lam.
Philip Wan-Bissaka, but more on that.
Aaron Wan-Bissaka is little bit more defensive minded, more than attacking minded. Like he slides in.
I never understood this debate. I never understood this debate. What do you mean by an attacking fullback? What do you mean by a defensive fullback? You are either a fullback or you are not a fullback. A fullback's job is both attacking and defensive. You cannot say that Trent Alexander-Arnold is the best attacking fullback while Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a defensive fullback. It's a fullback. You are a fullback.
A little bit more defensive minded and little bit more attacking minded kind of like that.
So what do you call a striker who sets up more goals? Defensive striker or an attacking striker? Striker is a striker.
Not really.
Please don't watch this show. Bobby Firmino, stay away.
No, my point is this. There is a striker. Yeah, there is a striker, there's a second striker. If you look at different positions, there's a striker, there's a secondary striker, there's a false nine, there's a center forward, there is a supporting striker, different from a secondary striker. But I don't understand the term a defensive fullback or an attacking fullback. I mean, at least I watched 24, 25 years of good football now, and I've watched multiple fullbacks. But I have never heard of Philip Lam saying that I'm a defensive fullback, who in my opinion is possibly one of the best fullbacks to play on either side of the flank.
Absolutely.
I've never heard Ashley Cole. Yeah, I could never hear Ashley Cole saying that I am only a defensive left back. Ashley Cole was equally good attacking.
No, not really like. No, not really like a defensive fullback or an attacking fullback. It's all about inside your head. It's like a mindset. Like, I have two
what kind of a midfielder is POGBA? Is he an attacking midfielder? Is he a central midfielder? Is he a defensive midfielder? You can't classify midfielder based on his mentality, right? He's a midfielder.
Cut him, Prasad Bhau, cut him some slack. Come on, don't do this. Okay,
I'm talking about is just the mindset, like how you play. You have in your mind, like what kind of defenders I have. Is it a fast, like one with the Eric Bailly, or is it Lindelof or Maguire? Then I can move forward. He is in that mindset that he knows that I have to go back and I have to make the difference, because I know that Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire hasn't got that pace. So
just to add to your point, even if United had a Franz Beckenbauer or a Maldini in that defense, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's first job is to still go back and defend, irrespective of who's the defensive partner. So so of all the things which you said, the only thing which I majorly agree is that his mindset. All right, he's not playing for Crystal. He's not playing.
Is the mindset only.
Yeah, he's not playing for Crystal Palace anymore.
The whole oxymoron in this statement is that he was a winger. What do you make of that mindset?
See, my point here is that he has to realize that he does not play for Crystal Palace anymore. And also when people say that, right? Yeah, when people say that he's a great defensive player, right? I still don't like him defensively, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's great in a one-on-one situation. He still does not have a lot of defensive intelligence. The first player to get caught out of position when the attack comes on the right side. That's possibly because that's not because of lack of pace. That's possibly because he stays so close to the touchline on the far right hand side. It's very easy for players to cut him and go. So there is a major defensive part in him which also has to improve. And like I said, right, playing for Crystal Palace and playing for Man United is far different, and he'll only improve. But having said that, it should not cost us games very quickly. We didn't pay 50 million to Crystal Palace, just to sign us a player who's going to develop.
Very important player, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a very important player for our team. I mean, like, he does a lot of work in that right position. From front to back, he does a lot of work, and there is no doubt in that he supports the team as much as he can. And if he is being supported in that right position a little bit more, I think there will be a lot of chances. I mean, to bring balls from that right hand side as much as they bring the ball from the left hand side.
Absolutely. Fair enough. And now talking about the missing link that we have recently signed Amad Diallo for. So you can see the young man on the screen, the handsome young man, the smiley boy that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer actually refers to. Now, I'll go to Prashant Bhau firstly on this, because I was having this debate with a friend of mine over the phone, that how United could not actually maintain that attacking spree, could not actually play that 10 yards higher. But one thing around, and why they were dominated. Suppose you put in an Amad Diallo or a Jadon Sancho up wide, they put 10 balls to him, 7 balls he will be defended, but one ball out of those 10, either 3 balls he will get those 50-50s. And now what is important for a dribbler, now where United are being held back at this moment of time, because a natural dribbler or a pacey forward on the right hand side cannot actually make space. There's things to understand here. Prashant Bhau, you know very well, because we have discussed this with you, that a dribbler creates space for his teammates, makes space for himself, and makes space for the other midfielders or the attack, those half spaces or those pockets where Bruno Fernandes likes to play and loves to play. So suppose an Amad Diallo goes there, or a Jadon Sancho is there, and you talk about all those balls, long balls being played in, Rashford on the left making similar runs. Suddenly Liverpool, Andy Robertson is looking over his back. He knows he can catch up with Paul Pogba on the right. He knows that he can catch up with Bruno Fernandes, who's occasionally playing on the right. But he knows that he cannot trap Robertson. He cannot trap Rashford. It was evident from the Dan James assist in the last Liverpool that we caught it 1-1. He was caught off position. And suddenly Jadon Sancho is there, a dribbler, an assist, a chance creator, and a goal scorer. Suddenly, with the right winger in spot, who is especially a dribbler and has pace, Robertson drops 10 yards back, thinking of that, looking over his back, and the whole Liverpool team drops, or any other team drops who play expansive football or who like to pin us, and suddenly United are 10 feet forward.
Yeah.
Do you think Amad Diallo can fill in that hole, or do we still need Jadon Sancho?
I actually don't know what to expect of Amad Diallo, to be very brutally honest with you. As much as I've seen him in Atlanta at a regular basis, what I definitely know of Amad Diallo is for a fact that Amad Diallo loves to dribble. Amad Diallo loves a challenge. Amad Diallo is strong. People think that he's so lanky, thin guy. Do not mistake him for that. He is very quick. He's strong. You can't push him off a tackle. If you push him off a tackle, he will come back at you again, because he's got that old winger ideology that if you push me, I am going to take on you now. That's one thing.
Kind of thing.
I wouldn't call a Patrice Evra kind of a thing. It's more of a, I shouldn't use the name, but yeah, whoever was the guy who left for Real Madrid and then now is playing for Juventus, that kind of an attitude, that if you take me on one, I will take you on you again. And that's a rare attitude in modern day players, because you look at a modern day young winger like Anthony Martial. I'm calling him a winger. You push Anthony Martial once, you bully him twice. What does Anthony Martial do? He starts having a bad game, because he's more of a rhythm. It's more of a rhythm versus he's more of a rhythm kind of a player. While Amad Diallo likes that challenge, that's what his manager Gasperini said as well, that you cannot keep that boy out because he will get onto you. Now, having said that, I don't know when he will feature for the first team. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said that he's making progress much quicker than what most people expected. So he will surely feature in the season, some part of it. And that's probably when I will start making a judgment, after we see him 2-3 game weeks continuously. Because playing in an under 23 or playing in an under 18 or even first team at a Europa League level, is a far different metric compared to playing in Premier League. And that's not demeaning the other leagues or anything, because the challenges are quite different. That's one. Having said that, whether United need Jadon Sancho or not, of course we do need a right winger. I don't care if the name is Jadon Sancho or if his name is Sergio Ramos. I'm not bothered about the name, but I'm more bothered about a right winger, because after all the things what you said about dribblers, create space, etc., I only want to see one thing from a winger, which is a cross. You have a tall centre forward waiting for a chance inside you, but there is no one to cross. I mean, that's wasting of
Absolutely.
a striker, right? That you are actually wasting a striker. That's why you need a a winger. Now you look at the position here, what you're trying to show me, right? I remember this game very clearly. He slots into that space very quickly and then receives the pass diagonally, which means he's making space for himself to cross. That's why you need a right winger, not because Trent Alexander-Arnold or Robertson would go 10 feet back. Forget that they're going 10 feet back. It's the first instinct of the winger to cross. You know,
Right.
if you look at the most successful wingers who play for modern, who play as a inverted forward or a forward in certain action, or for me, the most successful winger as of now in world football today is Heung-min Son. Okay, I technically can't classify him as a winger, but he's more of an attacking midfielder. But he plays on the left hand side or on the right hand side to a
Right.
Yeah,
fair
he
extent.
mostly plays on the left hand side, kind of
Left
like.
hand side, yeah, right.
True.
Because Steven Bergwijn goes on the right, and they keep exchanging places here
Absolutely.
and there. Right. So what Heung-min Son does is that as soon as he gets the ball, he immediately makes space for Harry Kane to run or make space for himself to run
Absolutely.
at it. That's the job
Right.
of a winger, and that's what Amar Diallo is expected to do if he moves into the first team sooner or later. If Amar Diallo doesn't happen, or when I say doesn't happen, if he does not move into the first team, United will have to look for a right winger ASAP, whatever by the name of Jadon Sancho, or like I said, if the name of the winger does not matter to me anymore, but I need a quality right winger on that right side ASAP.
Absolutely. Sharon, do you agree with this?
True. Absolutely, we need a right winger as soon as possible because you know that we are there is a big hole created in that right wing place because you cannot trust on Marcus Rashford and neither you can trust on Mason Greenwood, who
Hmm.
always tries to come in and nick the goal for himself and doesn't cross in a single ball because
Right.
he has got that selfish striker kind of mentality, Mason Greenwood. So he
Because
would
he's a
always.
striker, isn't he?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because he always tries to come in and shoot that ball because he's a two-footed player, and we still don't know which one is his strongest foot. So absolutely, I agree with him. We need a right winger as soon as possible.
Absolutely. So this is what I was trying to highlight actually, that about the dribblers being in space, that suddenly here's the imagine the fullback is here. He suddenly has
Hmm.
an outlet. He doesn't have to look for Bruno Fernandes anymore, who's there. And Amad Diallo being here or being at here at any point of time, the fullback can move it into central midfield. That would drag the defense here. That would leave him open. And even if he's here, that would leave the fullback open, and that would create a lot more space. That was what
Absolutely.
I was actually trying to explain in between. And meanwhile, Prasant Bhau actually took me to the cleaners with that statistic. But anyways, those of you watching for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Local channel, 390 subscribers, 400 tak bhai pahcha do aaj tak. You have 15 more minutes. And with that, we are in the final embers of the game, where final embers of the podcast, not the game, where we decide the predictions of the start. And because Shan's debuting on this channel, I'd ask your predictions first. What do you think, Craven
Uh,
Cottage? What do you think is going to be
I'll go for a bold prediction. 3-0 to Manchester United.
3-0? 3-0. Prashant Bhau?
Of course.
I expect a very cagey game. I don't expect it to be free flowing at all because it's Scott Parker's Fulham, man. I mean, they like the game to be very narrow. They don't give you chances. They're improving a lot. I expect it to be I expect a 1-0 victory if we win, or I think it'll probably be a draw because they're not an easy team to push. But having said
Right,
that,
because
I
because
actually
you have
don't know which United will turn up. I really don't know which United will turn up. If it's a United who played against Leeds, then God save Fulham. If it is a United who turned up against City in the EFL Cup, then God save us. So I actually
because
don't know
Scott
which
because Scott
United team.
Parker is a kind of a manager who likes to keep it on the ground. So
Yeah,
Fred, for that selection, I agree. But again, Paul Pogba, if he leaves his man against Fulham, we saw how fluently they played against Liverpool in the
you should.
opening half. That
Yeah, you know what? You should watch Fulham versus Chelsea, right? So, what I remember that game very clearly. Well, Chelsea won 1-0, I think. I
right,
think
right, right, right.
one of their players got a red card, and Mason Mount scored that goal. Fulham did not give them a sniff in the game. Chelsea obviously Mason Mount obviously showed his quality and why he's one of the best players in playing in Chelsea. Definitely showed it. I'm saying one of the best players playing at Chelsea because half of the Chelsea team is not even turning up. So
Yeah, absolutely.
having I'm sure Chirantan is listening to this, so I really hope it makes him feel bad. but but the Fulham team is not a pushover. If any United fan is thinking that yeah they're the 20th place team, we'll just go out and beat. No, the
17
table
to
does
be
not.
precise.
Yeah, 17th. The table does not suggest what you are. You know table is just one way of showing how your current form is, but it does not tell you who you are and what you are. So I think Fulham, it'll be a difficult game for us as well.
Because they're playing three at the back. Reed and Zambo
Yeah.
Anguissa will be covering those channels. Joe Bryan,
My
Tete,
worry
you
is
know how
Ruben Loftus
attacking
Cheek.
they.
My only worry is Ruben Loftus Cheek in that team, because
Why not
Ruben
Lookman?
Loftus Cheek. Sorry.
Why not Ademola Lookman?
Because I think United will kind of take him on the wings and they'll not let him cross much.
Because
But my worry is,
this is the position
hmm,
where Pogba plays. Because Joe Bryan makes the overlap, and this is the
yeah,
exact position where Pogba will be playing.
yeah.
That's my headache right now.
But my worry is Ruben Loftus Cheek, because Ruben Loftus Cheek is one of those few underrated passers of the ball in the Premier League, which people
He's
do
pretty
not
good on
count
the ball
much.
actually.
Yeah, he's very good. And if I have to compare someone who's very slick in passing, who played in the Premier League and was very successful at one point of time, was Johan Cabaye, who played for Crystal Palace. Ruben
Right.
Loftus-Cheek has got that good vision to pass, and that's why he's playing up the field. While whenever he was at Chelsea, they played him as a center defensive mid or a center midfield or even a box-to-box midfielder, which ideally is his
Right.
position, which he wants, which he said multiple times, for saying for England that I want to play for England in the center midfield position. But right now he's playing as a number 10, which is his natural instinct. Is all, if you observe Ruben Loftus-Cheek play, right, his instinct is to always pass ahead. He will rarely pass it behind because he's that good in his head, and he's always, I always say that to you. What the thing about I like about number 10 is that they're like Rohit Sharma in cricket. They're a second ahead because they've got that extra time, and that's a God gift. That's why they play at that position. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is good, but obviously injuries have not worked out well for him. The loan hasn't gone well for him, and his career is not going anywhere. So it's a big game for him as well. And you think about it, right? You perform against United, whoever you are. If you're a league grant and you perform against United and you're signed by the club, so I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek is expected to have a big game today. I didn't want to take the dig at League Grant, but whatever.
Absolutely. So it's 3-0 from Shayant, 1-1 or a 1-0 dogged victory from Prashant Nair. I'd actually go with a 2-2 draw because honestly, even I don't know what Manchester United turn up in either half.
Yeah.
Because that position, that Pogba position where Lookman is playing is considered is worrying me because Matic is not there to dominate, and Fred, whenever he's at the central defensive position and McTominay is not there, he loses his head somewhere. Well, let's hope it's
Just
not
to
that.
just
But
to
again,
just to tell you, City have won their game and they're top of the league. So they have gone with 18 games and 38 points, while
right.
United are 18 games and 37 points. In the last podcast, remember I told you about the City. The City have gone about doing their business slowly and steadily and quietly, and now that engine has warmed up. Now it's the time.
That's Pep
Yeah, it's the
Guardiola.
time. Yeah, that's Pep Guardiola's, who's starting his engine all warmed up, and now it's like saying this.
Absolutely.
Guardiola has thrown this to United and said, "This is what I'm going to do. I have got the first position in the table. Over to you, gentlemen."
Oh,
Absolutely,
that's a
absolutely.
mighty challenge, and that reflects the team selection Ole has put in. So, okay, it was a blast having Prashant Bhav and Shan. Thank you for debuting on this channel. We'll see a lot more of you. But till then, let's hope we have a good game. Bye bye for now.
Thank
Chalo,
you.
see you.
Bye bye.
GGMU.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. So, okay, that was pretty much about it. Let's head over to the match center and let's hope that this is a Man United win. And I don't think, and I don't see anything but a Man United win in this Fulham side. But it's Man United. You don't know what team is going to turn up. But let's hope Paul Pogba keeps his form. Martial scores a goal. Rashford a much needed breather. Mason Greenwood turns up, and a lot of good things only going to happen right now. United should be on the top of the league by the end of the day, but you know this is Premier League football. And with that, just around 6 minutes to kick off the game. Grab yourself a smoke, have yourself a chill of beer or rum wherever you are right now. And with that, this is your boy Neil signing off with the Mang episode 11. Podcast coming soon. FPL podcast will be back soon. Our FPL correspondent has a bit of an exam issue, so I'm not being able to do that. Even I'm not concentrating on FPL right now, but we'll bring you that segment as well in the early onset of February. Let's hope. But with that, signing off today, Netflix football, your boy Neil. Do share this with your channel, trying to grow. Let's target 400 subscribers as soon as possible. Then we can take that up from there. So for now, bye bye. See you. Let's hope for a good game. GGMU.